actually rolls into the first topic that I want to have some fun with you guys. So this next segment is called Souls Like or just has Souls Like mechanics.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
Hugger,
Good topic.
I don't know how you, oh, there we go. Look, there we go. Okay. So, first
Watch
up,
stream.
we're starting off with a good one that I did not get to play, but I know a lot of people were excited for. Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn. Souls like or has Souls like mechanics. Now, I want to hear from you guys before we dive into this one. Erica, starting with you. What is a Souls like game?
What is a Souls like?
Yeah.
Oh my god, we're gonna be here for 3
No,
hours.
okay. What are
Nah.
what are some core features that are required to be a
features.
Souls like game?
Okay. Definitely retrieving your souls. So you die, your souls drop, you go get your souls back. You have the one shot to do it.
Yes.
Sometimes they'll give you more shots. It depends on the game, but basically you're gonna lose them if you die again, kind of thing. That whole thing. There's smaller elements I feel that people forget sometimes, like the shortcuts, I can't open this door from this side. That's a Souls thing right there. I know that's not just exclusive to Souls, but I feel like that's a big thing. What else? Stamina is a big element, but it's not always in Souls like. So that one's a little, it's getting to where, and I'm sure we're going to talk more about it. The lines are blurring a little bit because Souls is evolving. So it's not just like one thing and that, okay, that's a Souls. Because we saw that with Stellar Blade. Oh, she sat down at a bonfire. That's a Souls. And it's
we'll talk about that.
I know. We're going to get there. Yeah. We're going to get there. But this year, I think this is a perfect topic because this year, those lines were blurring a lot. But when it comes to the main Souls, obviously, just like I said, dropping your souls, stamina is a big one. Builds, I would say, is part of it too. I'm still working on waking up, so I'm struggling to think. I don't know if Keith wants to help me, but
and I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I just so folks can get a gauge for what, like, when you answer yes or no to these games, where you're coming from, and just to set a baseline because it's different for everybody else. Hardcore checkpoints, something that feels like an old action adventure mechanic now would be classified as a Souls-like mechanic. Like, post FromSoft, before that it was just, it's a save point. That's what, that was just what it was. But now it's evolved to a Souls-like mechanic.
Right. The bonfire system, the checkpoint system. And then also I think what you do at that bonfire can distinguish what is an action game or what's a Souls-like. Because sometimes you're at a bonfire, but you're leveling up a skill tree. And that's something that was, skill trees weren't really in Souls games. So you have to kind of think and it's getting, like I said, it's getting more blurrier. But I think the more you play them, and we'll talk more about that, like you just know, it's a feeling. It's hard to describe sometimes, but you just kind of know, like, yeah, this is Souls. And then this is not. This is more of an action game, or this is more of a Metroidvania, or like what's that? Hollow Knight. For the longest time, people thought that was a Souls game. But when you play it, it's a Metroidvania. Yeah. So and it's got the little elements,
So would Metroidvania be the first Soul? No.
That's an argument too.
Conversation.
Because there's a lot of inspiration for Metroidvania. So that's why I feel like, honestly, Metroidvania and Souls, I love the combination. That's one of my favorites. So, I just think it's great we even have this conversation because that just means Souls is growing.
Yeah.
And it's evolving. So but it is getting a little messier to determine what's what. It definitely is. It's getting blurrier.
So Keith, what are some key factors for you to make something a Souls-like?
One of the biggest things that used to be what will make a Souls-like game is the fact that the difficulty is set. Now we've seen like in games like Another Treasure that you can actually change the difficulty now. So it depends on the developer, but that's that. Methodical combat. One of the biggest things with a Souls-like game is
methodical.
You have to dodge.
Yes.
And more recently now you have to block, or I'm sorry, you have to dodge.
Parry.
Dodge and parrying, or as you saw in Bloodborne, that was the key feature of the game. In fact, if you were good enough to parry and get your life back, that was a big thing. The methodical combat comes in with once you attack, there's no canceling. You're stuck in place until that attack finishes. That's the big thing that separates an actual Souls-like game from, say, an action adventure game or a game like, say, Devil May Cry, because those games are built around attacking and canceling and doing something else. You can't do that in a Souls-like game. When you die,
you're committed.
Yeah, you're committed. When you attack, that's it. Losing your whatever currency it is in the game when you die. But see, on some Souls-like games, that's not the case anymore. You don't always lose that now. So again, like Erica says, the lines are being blurred, but we all can acknowledge that what makes a Souls-like as well is when you die, and it tells you, hey, look, you died. You literally died. And it's not like, I know it. No, you die, homie. Just keep that in mind that you died.
Yeah.
And challenging bosses. I know that's hand in hand with most games, but Souls-like, it's
a different
they're
piece.
Constantly up in the ante with these bosses. Before, which is like, oh, you fought this boss, he was hard, okay, great. And then, we start playing these FromSoft-like games. You're like, wait, I got the boss down. No, you didn't. Now you see my second phase. Let's go.
Second phases, yes.
Let's go. Or sometimes in some cases, third phases. Let's go. And you're like, wait, what? What happened here? I just killed this. No, you didn't kill this guy. I'm ready to go. Or even though it's not a Souls-like game, Sekiro, when you fought the monkey boss, you're like, I got him. And he's like, oh no, let me just pick up my head and we're gonna go fight again. And it's like, come on, man. So that there's that, the stamina system, but then again, there's some Souls-like that don't have a stamina system. So
it's getting wild. It's
getting crazy.
So
no, you did. Go.
Can be.
Yes.
If I can interject really quickly, not a Souls game, but I do want to give away a game courtesy of PM Studios. This one is for Xbox. The game is called Xphobia. I'll put it in the chat right now. I just want to end it and let you know we're giving away a game for Xbox, not Steam this time. This is for Xbox, Xphobia.
The one that just dropped because you put Steam in the.
Nope. That's the thing. I'm about to do an Xbox.
Oh, you're about to do another drop. Okay, got it.
Just want to put that in there.
We got a lot of stuff to give away, folks. So please tune in. And if you guys can please make sure to like and share this, it helps us out a ton. Please share this out. Let folks know we're giving away a bunch of games and we're having a good time. So just to preface, just to kind of set up the tone for these games that I'm showing you, these are the games that Google listed as 2024 Souls-like releases. So these are not this. Hey, I'm just letting you know. I'm just setting the tone. So we're starting with Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn.
No, it's
Souls-like or has Souls-like mechanics. Go ahead.
Has Souls-like mechanics, but that's cheating because I actually talked to the developer and I was following the game. I've been following this game since it was announced.
Ow.
And he was like, and they were like, no, it's not a Souls-like, but we were taking a lot of Souls-like mechanics, but also mechanics from action games and putting into this game. So it's not a Souls-like.
Just
mechanics. From the developer's mouth, it is not a Souls-like.
Look, well, that kind of kills the mood for the first one. Thanks. Sorry, he's so connected.
Let me say too.
Let's go. What's your thought, Erica? Yeah,
I'm gonna kill this even more because I didn't play it. This is one of the few I did not play. So yeah, so I can't speak on it. I've seen it.
Play Flintlock?
I'm gonna be honest. Flintlock was on my list to play.
It was.
I've been anticipating for a very long time. What had happened was I started playing a game called The First Descendant.
That's it.
Up in Game Pass.
And we know your love with that game. We know it.
So the waifu's got you over there.
Yep,
I got you over there.
That's what it was.
That's what happened. Hey, I'm not shaming.
We don't judge.
You know what it is.
We don't judge.
Chef don't judge. All right, next game. Ooh.
Hades
2.
That's a rogue.
Souls-like or just has Souls-like mechanics?
Not even. It's just a rogue.
I wouldn't even think there's mechanics. I just think it's a rogue.
Yeah.
People think hard.
Very hard game though. Hades. Wait, what was that?
Hey, Mega Man 2 is a
Souls-like nowadays, though.
Lion King, the Sega version, is a Souls.
Lion King, the original Souls.
Don't even talk about that game ever.
Bad dudes. And
Battletoads. I was about to say Battletoads.
All these games are Souls-like. They're so hard for you new gamers. I got you.
Hades is brutal though. I played a lot of the first one. It is brutal.
Hey, if you guys like Hades or Hades 2 and you want to play something that's not as brutal but just as fun, definitely recommend you checking out Windblown.
I've heard. Okay, I've heard about that. Okay, we'll make note of that. I have heard about that. So next game. Thank you, Hugger.
Oh yeah,
awesome. No rest for the wicked. Erica, let's Souls-like or just has Souls-like mechanics?
Absolutely Souls-like. It has it's got like a survival element to it as well. The best way I describe it is Breath of the Souls. It's got like some Breath of the Wild, you cooking stuff. It's survival, so your heals are limited and things like that. You got to upgrade your stuff, or you're gonna get your ass kicked. Like it is. Yeah. That's a tough game. I played a lot of it, and I was getting my butt kicked. But it's definitely a Souls. The rolling mechanic, the dodging, the losing your souls.
The build
you lose your souls.
You need to have certain builds. Yeah, it is a Souls.
The builds are a big deal. Like if you just go in with that same sword and you're expecting to just it's not gonna happen.
And you know what? The explorability of it too, like the whole way the map would connect and kicking, like accessing the ladder point that takes you back to that coast in the first area, like all of these things, and then rewarding of exploration. I agree. No, and you know what? I love that mix of claymation, Tim Burton. Like it had that.
It's a beautiful game.
It is a
beautiful
game. I stopped playing it because it's an early access, and they keep updating. I'm like, I'm just gonna wait till you're finished, and then
they update a lot. Yeah, I kind of put it down too. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wait. But it's got some ARPG elements too. They they marketed that way, like, it's gonna be this ARPG with Souls stuff, but it kind of turned out to be more of a Souls game with some ARPG sprinkled, top down, gameplay. It's a good game. It's cool.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm kind of geeked out at how well this is working. Like this is like I'm nerding out a little bit.
Well, I mean, when you bring prominent people, the Souls,
prominent people within this,
you know what we're talking about. Come on,
look, y'all do know. This is why I always reach out to y'all, because you guys seriously know what the hell you're talking about, and you guys live this genre. Like, so next
play.
Sadly, that is mostly all I play. Help me, please.
Oh yeah.
And Notria, the last song. Souls-like or Souls-like mechanics?
Souls-like.
Souls-like.
So I got to play this one with the actual devs. I'm just saying.
Okay.
And I got to the final demo boss with the devs. But they were actually really proud of me because they told me halfway into it, because they were like, no, you're actually really getting close, but this boss is broken. And there's certain moves that you can't get away from, but you're actually doing really well. And I was like, you don't understand. This is the biggest compliment I've gotten. Like, I feel like somebody just told me they love me.
Yeah, he didn't tell me it was broken, but I ended up stopping halfway in because we were talking about the game, and the guy was really cool, but he was frustrated because he was like the Souls-like community wasn't really taking the game seriously. So we were literally talking about why he felt that way and what's going on, and him going like, they're talking about how come certain things don't mesh right, or how come a certain weapon isn't stronger than another weapon. And I'm like, dude, this is the community. This is Souls-like players is one of the hardest communities. You cannot appease everybody. You can only do what you think is right and keep making the game. And then once the game comes out and there are issues, fix them ASAP.
Yes. Erica, what you think of
I was so curious about your guys' experience with this game, because I was set to get a review code for this game. I was back and forth with PR, and then it came and went, and I never got a code.
Yeah.
And I played the demo. I played it enough to where I was making videos about it. I had some criticisms about it. I did feel certain weapons were weak, or certain bosses were janky and things like that. So I don't know. I doubt my criticism went that far, but I never got a code. So I have not played the full game of this. But that demo I went hard with. I think I beat 2 bosses. And they were tough.
Yeah. The demo was great.
Tough. It was a good demo. You know what I loved about this game was the traversing. You had to use like those I don't even know what it's. I don't want to say it was like a teleport, but it kind of you had to like
You had to
Kinda,
go there
right?
Portal pad, yeah.
And you had to like break down floorboards to like get through, and like that was to me a little spin on it, to where I thought, oh, they're making this a little bit different, and I like that. So I was liking it for what it was, but I did feel it needed some work. But I mean, it is a Souls-like. Let's answer that.
Yeah,
It definitely
100%.
is. This is probably one of the, I guess, most Souls-like indies that came out this year. Yeah, I'm gonna get around to it. It's just I was hoping for that opportunity, and it just didn't happen. And I was playing something else, and you know.
And the thing that got me about it was the scale, and I think that's a big part that wasn't really pumped out there to the world. It's a big game. And
the setting's awesome.
Yeah,
I love the folklore, Italian folklore. Can't say that word, but beautiful. It's awesome.
Yes. But yeah, No Tree is definitely Souls-like. So next one, Hugs. We turned Hugs into Vanna White.
Hey,
good old Deathbound.
I was like, and I really like Deathbound because I really, the game itself was a little rough. The concept though is amazing. The fact that
love it.
You can play multiple characters. You have to. It's Souls-like you can set up different builds, set up different weapons, and then continue from there. And here, the characters are your builds, and you need to pay attention to how you're playing and swap out. And I don't remember the actual name of the mechanics, but you could the meter, and then you can do stronger attacks. You can do faster dodges. It was a great idea. I do think they need to put a little more work into the game, but it's a fun Souls-like. Definitely a Souls-like.
Yeah, definitely.
Erica.
I reviewed it. I beat it. Awesome. It like Keith saying, the concept of switching between characters, and you had to strategize like 2-3 steps ahead. Okay, I'm going to use this at this time, or this character's getting hurt. I got to switch to something else and then get that health back for that character. And you had to really, they called it like Baldur's Gate meets Souls because of that, because you're switching and strategizing between your strengths. Because one character will have like a huge sword or something, or a spear, and you might need that, need that for certain things, and the other person has magic, so you got to do some, long distance stuff or something. So it was cool, man. Very rough. There were times where I felt, man, some of these bosses are rough, dude. Like, they were hard, but because they were janky or because it was just not polished enough. So that's what made it hard.
Yeah,
but I beat it. I beat them. It's just, it was frustrating in that sense. Not because
it was like if people thought that From Software games were clunky, this game was clunky.
This is clunky.
Like, oh my god, you don't have to emulate it that much, guys.
Yeah, but because of what it was and the concept and the gameplay loop, we stuck with it because they had something really good.
Also,
here.
Your characters, you also had to balance your characters, because there was a system within the game where if
skill tree.
Not the skill tree. Basically, if you put certain characters along other characters, they didn't like each other.
Yes.
You would get debuffs. Or if you put other characters along other characters that like each other, you would get buffs. So it's like, all right, I need to manage this. I kind of want this character in my group, but this one doesn't like this character.
It was cool, man. It was cool.
There was a lot of communication between the characters too.
They talked a lot.
Yeah.
They talked to each other. It was there. I'm gonna be honest. Deathbound introduced a lot of mechanics. I mean, even the healing mechanic, which was more frustrating than anything, it added a layer of difficulty.
I hated the healing.
Like when you healed, other characters were damaged. Like,
I'm gonna heal my character, but I'm gonna screw you over. But
it would take a little bit of health up. So for everyone listening, just imagine you have 4 characters. You're switching between them, and let's say you have to heal one of them because you need them. You want them right at this moment. It will take off a bit of health of the other ones if you heal that one with your health potion. Yeah. So it was wild. It was a wild concept for sure.
A lot of moving pieces for sure. And then there was the whole thing of the skill tree. And there was just a lot there that surprisingly fit. Like I was kind of shocked at how it was a lot of mechanics that I was not used to seeing in the Souls-like genre, and it fit. Like it didn't feel horrible. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It worked, and it was cool to see a developer take such leaps and risk with the genre. Like this is it was in my opinion that was a big positive.
I want to see more of this. I want to see other developers do this because it's cool because there is a story, right? Yeah, and you have these characters that they communicate with each other, and depending on their values, they don't agree with each other sometimes. Why is this villain doing this? Well, I could, they're disagreeing with each other as they go, and then that's what brings in like what Keith is talking about, how they don't work well together or they do work. So it was interesting for sure.
And then the storytelling, that's a big thing for me because like with a lot of the original Souls games, I missed a lot of the story because I was fighting for my life and just trying to survive. Yeah. So like, I mean, just being honest, like there's a lot of story. There's so much story that I've missed, like Destiny level missed of story.
It's like you're picking up an item, but you're running away at the same time. I'll look at that later.
Yeah, and then come to find out it was like this loved one's spirit forged into this weapon, and it's linked to the final boss, and like but you don't know because you're running for your life.
I feel like in the beginning, From Software did that because they were new to the whole storytelling thing. Because if you ever played some of the earlier games like Kingsfield, they did the same thing in those games as well. But I also think as the rise of YouTube, I'm pretty sure they were like, you know what, we've got these lore people out there on YouTube that are doing all these things. So we're just going to keep doing our thing and they'll figure it out. People will go to YouTube and watch the videos, which we did.
Labor. They got free labor out of everybody. But no, so let's move on to the next one. I'm sorry, I'm eating up. Deathbound was a big one, and it's going to come up again in a later topic. Okay, another Crafts treasure. So Souls-like or just Souls-like mechanics?
Souls-like.
Baby's first Souls.
Yeah.
But that's not a bad thing.
If you've never played a Souls-like game before, you play this game now.
Bro, that ain't hard.
This is your introduction to playing it.
It is tough at times. It is tough.
I came in, I was like,
not the
I was out.
This is where we're talking about with the difficulty because there was an option in this game. So, hey, I'm getting my ass kicked. Okay, now you can enable certain things. And the kicker was, as you can play Naz's Got Myself a Gun, you can give your main character a gun. That literally kills everything.
Like,
it was a cute game. It was cute. I like the little play on words, the sands between. You walk in there and it says the sands between. It was cute. Right? Cute as heck, man. I loved it.
Didn't they have like cute cuss words too? Like,
it was. There's some jokes in there. So that's
there was a lot of colorful jokes in that game.
Yeah,
it was good.
Okay, next one.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm Vanna.
Yeah, you're Vanna. Rise of the Ronin.
No.
Souls-like mechanics. See, this is where I'm gonna disagree with you guys.
Okay, let's hear it.
Extremely difficult combat, fast-paced parrying and dodging. When you get killed, you lose your renown, and you get to go back, and you get an opportunity to go back and claim it back by doing enough damage or killing your enemy. But stamina. There's a stamina system. There is like I don't know. For me, this is
it takes a lot of mechanics, but it's still not a Souls-like. And then again, that's that thing. Like, how much does a game need to have to be considered a Souls-like?
That's why I really was excited for this one because I feel like it definitely rides that line between.
A little blurry.
Yeah, action adventure game and Souls-like. Now, where I would say it's more of a action adventure game, if I'm being honest with myself, is the difficulty factor.
That right there.
Difficulty. It is a lot of cinematic storytelling.
I also think it takes a lot from Sekiro, and Sekiro's not a Souls-like.
Says who? No, I'm just playing.
See, there we go. A lot of people. I say it's not a Souls-like, but
yeah.
No, it's not.
Sekiro is like the poster child of like, we think it's a Souls, but it's not technically. But people, every time I see a Google article, something, it pops up for me. Oh, top Souls-like, hardest Souls-likes ever, and Sekiro's always in there.
Always.
And it's just like, it's frustrating because they forget all these other games. They don't mention Code Vein. They don't mention, they don't mention
Code
those.
Vein was.
So it's always Sekiro.
Definitely. Same. It's that game that is like, it's the piece of candy laid out because you're like, oh, if I beat this, I can get into the other ones. It's the crack laid out on the street. That's what it is.
Sekiro is hard, so I can't hit on that. Yeah.
You know what's the biggest thing about Sekiro is the game holds value. That is
it's a great game.
Amazing game.
Oh no, I'm literally talking about the value. Like right now, the cheapest I've seen it in the past couple of months is $30 digitally.
Like because it's Activision.
Yeah, it's an Activision game.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Technically, yeah.
Look.
So that's why.
But yes, so next.
Rise of the Ronin, though, I was going to say it's more of I would say in the vein of Neo meets Ghost of Tsushima or something. It's kind of in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's... Yeah.
I love Ghost.
So it's got elements, but same thing with Stellar Blade. It's, there's a couple little things, but, it's an action game. This one's an action game.
The game was inspired off of Nier Automata. Guys.
Yes.
Character action, is that what we're calling this one?
Yes.
It's I didn't play Stellar Blade. When I seen it and it did remind me of like Nier Automata. I don't like character action games. Like I'm not a big what's that
like
one?
Devil May Cry, Nier? Really?
Hey, you don't play any of those? Come on, man. Those are great.
That's crazy.
Nope.
Bayonetta?
Yeah, I'm good. Look, hey, I'll wear that shame with pride. But but yes, so obviously Stellar Blade. When I seen it, I was like, oh, that looks cool. And then it was the fast pace and everybody moving around and then wave of it. I was like,
we thought it was Bayonetta, remember? When we first
that's what I'm saying. And I was like, I'm good.
I'm good.
No, thank you.
So the Stellar Cheeks didn't make you want to get in there? That's so wrong. But you know what I mean? Like I thought her character, just the design of the characters are beautiful. Beautiful characters, man.
Great. No, she looks great.
Yeah.
Badass. But no, I'm good. No, thank you. I'd rather not. Just like
I love Stellar Blade. This is my game of the year, by the way. This is my game of the year.
Really?
I love Stellar Blade. Yeah.
Is it? Even though another game might be able to be game of the year?
Wukong is like right there. But unless obviously Shadow of the Erd Tree, if that counts. But Stellar Blade was I loved Stellar Blade. I loved it. So
Hugger, did you like Stellar Blade?
Didn't play it. But I liked it. I'm a simp.
Yeah,
like what are we doing out here?
Yeah.
To me, Stellar Blade had the feeling, like we talked about Sekiro, not a Souls-like. I feel like Stellar Blade's more in the vein of Sekiro. The timing of your attacks, it's more of a rhythm. You see the blue attack coming, you got to press A to dodge, get around them, or X, whatever it is, to get around the enemy. And it was timing. It was all about being on cue with things and all of that. And it wasn't so much patterns like a Souls game, because Souls games, I feel like you could memorize those patterns. You know what's coming. Yeah. You just got to get better at it and see it enough. Stellar Blade, it was chaotic. Like you didn't know what was coming at times. Same thing with Wukong. I'm sure we're going to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
It was you had to react with the proper counter at the right time. Yeah. So that's what it was. More like in the vein of Sekiro.
Look,
with the deflections and stuff.
Is not built for that. But yeah, Hugger, next, please.
I'm pulling.
It's got difficulty options too, by the way.
Because you didn't give me one B.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
Okay. Is it the monkey?
About the Black Myth Wukong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The monkey.
Pull up a picture.
Let's see. So yeah.
Black Myth
we're talking about Black Myth Wukong.
Great game.
Souls-like?
No.
Or Souls-like mechanics?
Souls-like mechanics.
I'm trying to think what is the Souls-like mechanics? I'm trying to think.
Is that your final answer?
Oh, me?
Yeah. Yes, you.
Yeah.
Are you gonna?
That's my final answer, Alex.
Why, sir?
I'm trying to think right now. What are the mechanics? I'm trying to think. Because
enemies
there's
respawning in the world after you kill them.
True.
That's the only thing, because I haven't played it yet. This is definitely on my.
Wait, you quizzing me, but you ain't play it.
Yeah, I'm a good host.
That's crazy not playing Wukong this year. That's wild. No,
because I became a backlog barbarian, which is our next hour that's coming up in a few minutes. And when I became a backlog barbarian, I have legitimately been playing through my backlog. And there's a few games that came in to ruin my backlog, but that's beside the point. And then I was going to pick this up during Black Friday, and I'm glad I waited because there's a physical version coming out thanks to one of our sponsors, PM Studios. They're publishing and putting out, I believe, globally, the physical PlayStation 5 edition of Black Myth Wukong.
I think the biggest thing with this game, though, that qualifies it as not being a Souls-like is, again, the combat is fast. And I hate that because I would like to see a fast Souls-like, but then again, if you see a really fast Souls-like outside of Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3, you'll have people going, well, it's not supposed to be fast-paced. Okay, I don't want that. But also when you dying is definitely less punishing in this game.
Oh, for sure. Plus the fact you can respec things and all that.
Free? Like, no.
I'm trying to remember. Was it? Or am I getting confused with Thymesia? Dude, speaking of backlog, I went back and played Thymesia, beat it. That game's freaking awesome, dude. I waited a couple years because it came out literally a week before I was due with my son. So I went back and played that and beat it this year, dude. Great freaking Souls-like.
That card magician fight was legendary. I watched Old Man Logan play it.
Talk about man, that was fun. Just the combat to learn, and that's another thing I personally for Souls games, if it's fun to learn that combat, and oh my god, to me that's really important with Souls-likes to make me like them better than the other. You know what I mean? So, anyways, threw us all off tangent.
No,
love that game.
That was a good
Black Myth. It's a great game. I did feel the last chapter fell off a bit because it went open world and the pacing was a little off for me. And I think that's why it's not my game of the year, but I love the game. It's difficult as hell. I think for some of the bosses, there's some of the bosses that just completely destroyed me. Because again, it's that reaction time. It's that using the right skill at the right time. And if you completely whiff it, oh, it's maddening. It is so... This game pissed me off a lot because I would have this move that I'm like, I got it in the tuck. I'm about to use this move. And then it would just completely miss. And then I'm out. I'm waiting for a cooldown. I'm dead. It was wild like that. And to me, Souls games aren't like that. I'm not using a skill and letting it build up. And then there's and then I'm going to use it like an an ultimate move. And then it has a cooldown. We're not doing that in Souls games. This is more of an action game. You're building up your meagers to get those moves and use them at the right time. And that's really what Black Myth was. And I think that's why I struggled with it, because that's not Souls. Gotcha. It's kind of funny. I describe it as like, if this was a Souls, I would not have died that much. That's how I know. Okay. Because I was dying just because I used the wrong skill at the wrong time or something. You know what I mean? That's not Souls to me.
I got you.
It's different. And the bosses are so smart in this game. The way they react, they will try and stomp on you if you're right by their foot. They will switch up their move depending what you're doing.
Yeah,
that's what is different. It's wild.
Hugger, can you skip to the last one that I wanted you to do, just for the sake of time? And then that actually rolls into a little so Souls-like or Souls-like mechanics.
We gotta talk this before we go, Is this a Souls-like?
Or Souls-like mechanics? You guys let me know.
What game is this again?
Never heard of this game.
Potential Goaty.
Tiny indie title.
Yeah,
indie.
Oh,
okay. Team, I don't think I got around to this one.
I heard they're kind of soft.
Probably not. You probably missed it.
Yeah, it's about trees and forest stuff. It's a real foresty game.
Damn. Shadow of the Urge stream.
Yeah, so this is for this point, right? This is probably going to win Game of the Year and piss off the whole planet. But
I hope so.
But
they're allowing expansions, they said, and they're focusing on that. I've seen them talking about it in the media. So,
and
are they setting us up to expect these in the nominations? Elden Ring.
So pissed. I'm laughing. People are so butthurt about this. They're getting so mad.
I'm gonna laugh if it happens.
I think it's gonna be hilarious because the numbers wise, the engagement wise, it's gonna be a strong contender for sure.
I'm actually writing an article about this, and there's one guy in here who's going to get very pissed off because I used him as an example, and he's like, He's like, it shouldn't be Game of the Year because it's a DLC. And I'm like, why? Because you can beat the game faster than you can beat the main game. I'm like, so what does that mean?
Yeah,
you can beat games. There's some games of years were very short. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Look at Astrobot. Astrobot's like a 15-hour game.
I didn't even know it was that long. I thought it was shorter. But
you
no,
you could play it shorter. You know, you could do it good.
I think the problem is that Elden Ring has the same stigma as The Last of Us, and people are like, I'm tired of The Last of Us winning.
Yeah, that's fair.
Naughty Dog. Yeah.
But okay, I gotta ask this. So I'm skipping ahead for the sake of time, and that's my fault.
Yeah. No, you're fine.
What mechanics did you guys see this year that, or would you like to see going forward within the Souls-like community? And I'll start. For me, drop in, drop out multiplayer. If you're gonna have multiplayer, go ahead and allow drop in, drop out. Remnant 2, which is surprisingly we didn't talk about.
The DLC, yeah.
Right? Remnant 2 with the last DLC added this. There is drop in, drop out, where we even cheesed it a little bit, me and Keith, where we were in the middle of a fight.
Yeah, the new DLC. That new DLC is amazing.
And Keith jumped in as I was fighting a boss and popped up, because the way it used to work or with most other Souls likes, whenever there's a multiplayer element, there's a specific time and place in which you go and access that person and bring them into your world. But on now, with the final DLC of Remnant 2, you're able to literally at any point in time, boss fight or not, just jump into the world on somebody who's playing. And I think that is a way to get more people to play the games, because I know I wouldn't have beaten Elden Ring without multiplayer, without co-op. Mm-hmm. I would not have beaten it. I was ready to quit at the final boss in the core game. I didn't play the DLC, but in the core game, I was ready to quit at the final boss until somebody came in. Shout out to Lady Infamous of Grown Women Gaming.
Nice.
She carried me to a win.
Nice.
I was ready to quit. I was like, well, it was fun while it lasted.
Here we are.
But yeah, so real quick, you guys give me a mechanic. Go, Erica.
I could agree with what you just said. Just making it a little bit more seamless. You know, with Elden Ring, it wasn't too bad. You just use an item. They use an item. You might mark it down on the ground, touch it, and whatever. And so I wouldn't mind it being at the bonfire, or, you know what I mean? That's the grace point, whatever. Let me bring in this person. Boom, we're here, you know. What we talked about earlier, too, with Deathbound. I like that mechanic of switching characters. I would love to see From Software do something like that. I think that'd be sick. I think they would do it even better. Just something different, I think, in that way, where it stays Souls, but it transitions it to something that makes it just its own thing. That's why I love Souls-likes. It's because they do that. They'll add a different element in there, and just to have more quality of life, I think, is always good. Obviously not easy mode, but just make things a little bit more seamless. Quality of life things. Elden Ring, I think, did a good job of like doing that with certain things, but other than that, man, I don't know. What I want to see is just new things introduced and have them work with the genre. I'm just down for it. Anything, really.
Keith?
I think what I would really like is the ability to respect either right off the bat or not, as like in most games you have to get to a certain point and then you can respect. And the problem is a lot of people is if they spec their character the wrong way and they can't beat a boss, then they end up going to power level. And then if they power level, then they cheat themselves out of the experience because everything becomes easier. I think allowing people to actually respect without requiring you to get to a certain boss or a certain part of the game or a certain item will make people realize that, hey, they can do things without power leveling and just destroying the entire experience for themselves. I also liked what Lies of P did, where you can take an item or a weapon and upgrade to a certain way or combine it with another weapon and make it completely different. I love that because it changed the entire characteristic of the weapon. It wasn't that it looked different. You had different different attack powers, you had different abilities. I really like that one. And I would just sit there and go, all right, which weapon can I make to be the cheese weapon? Which weapon can I use to cheese a boss? And I did make a couple of them because they were really cool. It's like this right here was amazing. I know a lot of things. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say that would be sick.
That would be pretty
just
cool.
to take the different weapons, like some great swords or whatever, and then combine it with a different handle or a different something, and it just makes it different. Yeah.
That's what on a random note, that's what Sands of Aura did. I don't know if you guys checked that out. It's it's an action adventure game. It's pretty cool. I think they just hit 1.0 last year. It's worth checking out. As you craft your weapon, depending on what you attach to it, it changes the attack speed, style, name, everything depending on what you add to the weapon.
Remember Bloodborne? Bloodborne kind of did that. Sorry, I know we're pressed for time with the workshop, and you would like kind of add different stuff, but they could take that further, I think. Absolutely.